Yeah, hey, what's happening, man?
I'm doing well. How are you, Ira? Welcome back to the show. I know there's a couple updates that we want to talk about today. One being the Aaron Rodgers MIA case, but how's everything going with you?
Everything's good, all good. Just
Yeah.
looking forward to the summer.
Where do you think he is right now? If you had to take a hypothetical guess or an educated guess on where Aaron Rodgers is right now, where do you think he is? Do you think he's in the hole somewhere in the cave? Do you think he's at one of the Kennedy rallies? Where do you think he is right now?
Actually, was hanging out in my house and just were playing some cards a little while ago. No, who knows? Who knows? You know, I couldn't even care less where he is. Um, it just to me, the Jets created this whole media frenzy of where Aaron Rodgers is. It's almost like they're gonna have to get the armed forces to put up like a special teams force to find where this guy is. This is the most insane thing I've ever seen the Jets do. First of all, they knew the guy was not going to attend a month ago, 2 months ago, 6 months, whatever it is, right?
Hmm.
When Saleh spoke at the end of last week and he was asked, do you expect everybody? He said, yes, everybody will be in attendance. Forget about the Reddick situation. If he knew that Aaron wasn't going to be around, why didn't he just say so? And it wouldn't have become a story.
No, it wouldn't have.
Now, the Jets have fumbled this so badly. It's and listen, would I like my quarterback to be here? Yes. If he was here yesterday and today practicing, is it going to make the difference from going 11-6 or 8-9? No, it has nothing to do with being on a football field. He was there every day. It's like I'm defending him. I can't believe it. He was there every day during the spring. So whatever the whatever the reasons are, God bless. He told them in advance he's gonna get his fine, and but they just kept. I don't know what Salah fumbled this so badly. It's unbelievable.
I told you that when we talked about this last time, that the problem's still the head coach. He can't even handle an absence or a press conference because he called the absence unexcused, but he's excused. It's crazy when you read the headlines.
I tell you the truth. Remember what? Right? I don't know. Every time we have a conversation, Gase comes up. But remember his press conference when he was introduced as head coach.
Yeah, I do.
And,
Yeah,
okay, and of course the guy, it's sad, but he has anxiety problems. And remember, everybody was making fun. He was like all over the place with his eyes, right?
yeah.
I thought that was like one of the worst PR, nightmares ever for the Jets.
Hmm.
I think this is about at the same level of worse.
I agree. Yeah, because it's all over the place. This guy has no control, and we see it on the field from his plays with the timeouts. Just there's a lot of things that I feel as though that he just doesn't have control as a head coach. He doesn't have a firm grasp of his team. He's a
No,
push.
I
He's a
don't think so.
pushover.
And you know the sad part about it is when I was out there yesterday, and once again, you can't take anything out of what you saw on the field, okay?
Hmm.
But the only thing and I said, this is a bigger story. And I think one of the writers actually on social media put it out there today, but I called the radio and talked about it last night. The thing that stood out, and the only thing I took away from going to practice was that the entire, whatever, 2 hour session they had, Salah spent the entire time with Ulbrich. He spoke to Sauce Gardner once. He had no interaction with any offensive coach or member on the other side of the ball. And Todd Downing was calling the plays, and Hacker was standing on the sideline.
Hackett is a waste. I'm not getting any hopes up this season, just because how these situations are playing out right now, and it's all from the coaching staff. I mean, the Reddick thing. What is your take on the Reddick thing, where he's just hasn't showed up yet because it's the contract extension? You'd think Douglas would have taken care of this by now, but in long sight, do you look back at it and say, because probably we're gonna have to really pay up for Reddick? Do you think we should have just kept Huff?
If this is going in a direction of a camp holdout, like I think it will be, yeah, they should have probably just kept him.
Hmm.
But this is my take on the situation. As much as I could question a lot of things that Douglas has done right or wrong, I can't entirely throw him under the bus for this because he had to have all his bases covered when he was dealing with the Eagles, and I'm sure he was dealing with Reddick's agent. Okay.
Hmm.
So going into the trade, I'm sure at some point they had to be talking contracts. All right.
Hmm.
So whatever they spoke about, I think once the trade was made, this is my take. Reddick is an every down player, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. And he's been a tremendous player his whole career.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Saleh don't play as defensive lineman every down. Quentin Williams plays 50% of the snaps, maybe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my take, and this is my speculation, is that Douglas is trying to pay him as a pass rusher, and Reddick probably wants to get paid for an every down player.
Mm-hmm.
And the Jets are not going to pay him for an every down player because Saleh's not going to change his scheme and have one guy out there for 3 plays.
It's a nightmare, and it all goes back to the head coach. I just feel as though if things don't work out this year, he's gone. But I mean, we should have brought in another coach this year. I know it would have been a disruption, but Nathaniel Hackett, we mentioned before, he's on the sideline. He has no idea what he's doing. We saw the disasters that he put together last year in the games, and even Aaron Rodgers. We always talk about how he would be shaking on the sideline at his play calling. So I really don't understand how this is all going to work, and it's just a mess right now in Jets camp.
Well, yeah, but even with that said, I think that if they stay healthy and Rodgers plays 15 into 17 games, I think they're good enough to overcome all the shortcomings of the coaching staff
mm-hmm.
that they could end up winning 10 games or maybe 11, just because it's a really good roster and a really good team.
Yeah,
I think where the trouble comes, and I'll be honest with you, and even with all this nonsense, I'm going with them. They enter the Dolphin game at 10-6, and they're playing them for the division title.
Mm-hmm.
And I think once again, who knows? But I think one team gets in the playoffs from the AFC East. So I think if they don't win the division, they're not getting in. So, but in a big game, and we've talked about this in the past, if he's going against Tomlin, if he's going against Andy Reid or any other big-time coach, okay, if he could have coached that guy in a big spot.
No, I don't believe in him.
I don't either. Neither do I.
No, the biggest issue is coaching.
Yep. Like let's say they had pulled the plug on him, and it's a moot point because they went forward because you know what the deal is. But let's say they had hired Mike Vrabel, okay? Mm-hmm. How much better and how much more confidence? You did the same roster, but Vrabel is your head coach. How much better would you feel right now?
I'd feel a lot better. And that's the move I believe they should have made in the offseason. As soon as they let him go. I mean, there was a couple other candidates out there. Pete Carroll was out there. There was other coaches that they could have got, but they'd rather sit there with Saleh, and Rodgers saved them. That injury to Rodgers really saved Saleh's job because he gets another year. But now, if it doesn't pan out, he's gone.
Well, let's say here. Well, let me ask you this. Let's say the Jets. Let's say they win. Let's play it out. Let's say they win the division, right? Mm-hmm. And they go. What do we got? 11-6, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And they host a home playoff game. And let's say they win the home playoff game, and they go to Cincinnati, Kansas City, wherever it might be, and then they lose by double digits. You bringing Saleh back?
No. I think the only way you bring him back is if you go to the championship.
I would agree with you. Now, do you remember when the Jets went out to San Diego and beat the Chargers with Herm?
I do not remember that. I think I was too young for them. Yeah.
Yeah, you were too young. You were too young. Okay. If I recall correctly, I think Schottenheimer, was it North Turner or Schottenheimer? I remember at some point the Jets went out, beat the Chargers. The Chargers were like 14-2. And Schottenheimer lost. And they fired him. A 14-2 head coach got fired.
That's crazy when you think about it. I didn't get to see that, but that is wild.
Yeah, it really is wild. So when you look at the whole big thing, I think we're going to have a fun year. I think they're going to be really competitive. Once again, this is provided they stay healthy. It's all going to come down to the coach.
Yeah.
I can't. I could be dead wrong. How are they going to win an AFC title game against the Chiefs with Andy Reid? How is that even possible?
Yeah, I think it is. But you know what? I do think about this. I do think of the game. I get the playoffs are completely different, but I look at it last year. We almost beat the Chiefs in primetime. Remember that?
Yes. Yeah, but you know what happened in that game? If I recall correctly, didn't the Chiefs go up like 17 to 20 nothing early on?
Yeah, or it was early. Yeah.
And I think they took their foot off the gas.
Yeah,
and
you're
then
probably
all
right.
of a sudden, the Jets got momentum. Believe it or not, Zach Wilson played well, and of course, Zach Wilson fumbled when they could have won the game. But
I don't miss him.
And remember when we talked about the schedule, man? I'm telling you, Broncos with Zach Wilson coming into the Jets, it's going to be a competitive game.
It is. Could you imagine if he wins? Could you imagine if he really just burned? I mean, Darnold did it to us when he was on the Panthers. He beat us that first game. I could see it.
I could see the Jets beating San Francisco, which I think they have a legitimate shot because it's early on. I'd rather play in week 1 than week 10.
Yeah.
Okay. So you got San Francisco, you got Tennessee, you got Pats. If the Jets are 3-0 with Wilson and the Broncos coming in, it's so jet-like that they lose to Zach Wilson.
Yeah. I would not be surprised. And I don't miss him. But how do you, like, from what you see from the other players in camp so far, Braylon Allen's he's been getting some good looks there, and especially the backup quarterbacks, Tyrod Taylor. I mean, he's had to take Aaron Rodgers' place. So are you liking what you see so far from the other players in camp?
Yeah, once again, you got to take it with a grain of salt because, they're not hitting and there's no pads and all that stuff. There's a lot of really good things to like about this. I think they're loaded. I think this is probably one of the best Jets teams I've seen in years. Mm-hmm. Now they have to stay healthy. I mean, the offensive linemen are standing on the field yesterday. Remember, no pads, right? These guys are enormous. I mean, I thought I was looking like at the Dallas Cowboys offensive line. Tyrone Smith is like, he doesn't look like a human being. That's how big he is. And Morgan Moses, even though he didn't participate, he was out there. Moses and Smith at the two ends. If these guys actually could give you like 14, 15 games, it would be unbelievable. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's going to be tremendous. Now, I'll tell you another thing since we were talking about Saleh, and I hate to pile on. Guy's a good man. I hate to do it. But towards the end of practice yesterday, they got like 30 seconds left on the clock. They're running a 2-minute drill, whatever they were doing. Taylor hits, what's his name, Wilson, mm-hmm. for a touchdown pass. Tremendous long ball. Wilson makes a great over-the-shoulder catch. He beats Gardner. I think he actually beat a double team, right? Mm-hmm. Clock's out. Okay, make 10 seconds left, whatever it might be. As a coach, you got to get a feel for what's going on. Instead of blowing your whistle and blowing a horn and ending practice, because he's a defensive coach and he has pride with that defense, he didn't want to end practice on that note. So what does he do? He runs it back for another play. He leaves the starting defensive unit out on the field, and he puts in this guy Beasley or whatever this guy's name is, his other quarterback, right? Mm-hmm. And he has this guy, they blitz him. He's going against the first team defense. This guy doesn't belong in the NFL, okay? I mean, third string at best. You're talking about another Boyle or whatever.
Hackenberg.
Like that type of level, right? So, and of course, he throws a ball up for grabs, and Gardner comes down with an interception. Then he blows a whistle, and so he was probably so ticked that his number 1 rated defense got burnt on a long pass that he had to run it back with a backup quarterback against the ones.
It's almost like the kid who doesn't get the candy in the middle of like when someone hits the piñata, and it's like, no, you got to have it your way, or it's no other way. He had to have it his way.
It's unbelievable. Yeah, it really is. It's unbelievable. And I really, I want to be wrong about this guy. I want, if this guy wins, I want him to be the coach for 10 years.
Yeah, I'm tired of the revolving door.
Yeah, but I don't see it, man.
No.
I just don't see it.
No, like you said, I think what we said earlier, if he doesn't get the Jets to a championship with this roster, he's out, and Vrabel's in, or whoever other candidate that's perfect for the job, he's in. I have no faith in him. I wanted him when he was a candidate because he was supposed to be this great energy guy. The only thing that was a little concerning was that he was a defensive head coach, and we've had all these defensive head coaches and none of them have panned out. So, I mean, I think next time you got to go with more of an offensive-minded coach, but I'm sure if he doesn't, like I said, if he doesn't get to the championship with this roster, he's out. And then I really do hope, if Rodgers stays healthy, that we bring him back next year. I really do.
Well, why wouldn't they not want to bring him back? Woody Johnson will probably go crawling to bring him back. It's whether he would want to run it back for another year with a new coaching staff. Who knows? You don't know where. Or maybe if they come up short and Saleh's gone and they hire Vrabel, maybe Rodgers says, "Okay, you can bring in Vrabel, but Hackett has to
stay." Yeah, he loves Hackett, even though he's terrible.
That's his boy.
Yeah,
that's his boy. I'll tell you one thing. How in the world he had that good year with the Jaguars with Blake Bortles, and I don't know how he did it.
Yeah, I think they just overachieved. I think that's what it is. It's crazy when you really look at it. Did you see the issue come up today? It's been going around on social media with DJ Reed because his contract is going to be up too, and they should be giving him an extension.
No, I didn't see anything about it.
Yeah, I saw that come up on Twitter today, actually, that there's some concerns there. And it was brought up in one of the press conferences. He was asked if he's going to be extended, and he said he would love to stay in New York, but he said if he has to hit free agency, he looks forward to it next year.
Well, let's look at the big picture. However this plays out, let's say they win the AFC title and lose in the Super Bowl, Saleh's back, everything's good, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got Sauce Gardner. You got Hall. You got Wilson. You got Jermaine Johnson. They're all going to start becoming, they won't get paid, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to lose 2 of the 4. You can't afford to keep all 4 of them.
No. Nope.
And that's the sad part. That's why this year's so critical. They got to win the whole thing this year.
Yeah.
I think am I correct? I think Rodgers is like $60+ million towards the cap next year. I could be wrong about that, but I thought that's what I read. It's some absurd number because they kept on pushing back money. At some point you're going to have to pay the credit bill, the credit card.
Yeah, yeah, that's what Rodgers. He's an expensive credit card that we got no use out of so far.
No, it's unbelievable. But but the whole thing with his story, it you know what? It could only happen to the Jets.
Yeah, it truly is a Jets class act.
It really is. It's unfortunate. I guess they're going to clean out tomorrow, and they're all away for 6 weeks. And hopefully he's not missing in action. Hopefully he's back in 6 weeks. Yeah. Maybe he's still in hiding.
Yeah.
Maybe he went back in the hole for a month. Who knows?
Maybe. Yeah. No one knows where he is.
You know what's really going to be funny? Because it's going to surface somewhere, because you can't hide anything in today's world.
No.
And hopefully whatever he's doing, hopefully it's for a good cause, and I'm not getting into the political part, but whatever he's doing, maybe he's at a children's hospital doing an event. That would be the greatest thing in the world.
It would be.
But you just hope that he's doing something that's meaningful, even if it's just getting his mind and body healed.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
It's just the Jets should have been just truthful. They should have been truthful about it.
Yeah, it's always a PR nightmare. I'm telling you, they got to get some new PR in there. It's always a PR nightmare with this team.
It really is. I mean, you don't see this happen with the Giants. You don't see this happen with the Patriots.
No.
You don't see it happen with the Steelers. I know the Chiefs have their hands full with a lot of off-the-field issues. But the majority of teams, you don't get the stuff like you get with the Jets.
No. It's a circus.
I mean, do you? Let's see. What we talk to? Yeah, so you're old enough. Do you remember when Tebow was around? Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, I do remember that. Just the media headlines for this guy.
I'll never forget. Now, once again, this is not the Jets' fault, but I'll never forget up in Cortland, ESPN. They had what's his name? The famous.
Was it Stephen A. Smith?
Reporter. No, well, he was up there, but the other guy. He's been around forever. He's in his 60s probably by now. I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. He's been a commentator for ESPN football for years. And they camped out the entire time the Jets were in Cortland. They had a corner of the field, and they had their stage set up, and they were up there for the entire camp because of Tim Tebow.
And he never panned out. What a waste that was. And that was a total wrecking ball to Sanchez's career. I mean, we talk about, they switched up the schemes. He didn't have Kotchery anymore. Plexical burst was just not the right weapon for him. But they brought him in, and that wrecked Sanchez's confidence as well, too.
Of course it did.
Yeah.
And you got to remember, it's funny because I called Tierney today, and they were talking about the Douglas Saleh combination. And I said, even though it ended badly, Rex Ryan Tannenbaum team, that was Douglas and Saleh, they're nowhere near the caliber that these. You remember 2009 they go to the championship, 2010 they go to the championship, 2011 they're 8-5 I believe, and then they come up short. And 2012 you had the Tebow fiasco, and then they bring in Idzik in 13. But 2 of the 4 years they go to the title game. 1 year they come up short of getting to the playoffs, and then you had that disaster in 12.
Oh, that was horrible. The butt fumble year.
Yeah, so basically you had 3 out of 4 really good. And you know what? Let's face it, forget about the Fitzpatrick year. That was the last good run of 2 or 3 years of football the Jets have had since 2009, 08, 09. 08 you had Favre, actually even Mangini's first year. And look at that draft. And because Tierney brought up the fact that he thought that Douglas has drafted better. And I could make the argument he hasn't. He had one good draft so far that he's been here. You got to remember when Tannenbaum was there in 06, okay, you had Mangold and Brick. Mm-hmm. In that same draft, you got Brad Smith. You got Drew Coleman. I know I'm leaving. There was another player. So I know he got 5 very productive players, 2 potential Hall of Fame guys. In 07, he trades up for Revitz, gets David Harris. In 08, they bring in Favre. Unfortunately, if he hasn't hurt his arm, they probably go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
In 09, they have a Super Bowl caliber team with a rookie quarterback, and they get to the title game. And if Sean Green and Strickland don't get hurt against the Colts, they beat the Colts.
Yeah.
In 010, they put so much in an effort into beating the Pats that when they got to Pittsburgh for the championship game, they had nothing in the tank and they came out flat.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was those 2-3 years. Those were great years for the Jets.
Those were the golden wonder years. I was just only in elementary school at that point, but that's such a long time ago now. I remember those years. It felt good to actually have something to kind of just brag about or just hold your head up about with your team. But I haven't felt anything great since the Fitzpatrick year. It's just one and done. I really don't consider that anything special. I know Fitzpatrick had a career year, but they didn't make the playoffs. They choked against the Bills.
Well, I'll never forget when they lost to the Steelers in 2010, because I was well aware there were salary cap things and everybody knew they were going to make roster changes. I'll never forget calling up Joe and Evan the day after they lost to the Steelers in that AFC title game. And I said to the two of them on air, I said, "You've seen the best." I said, I wish I was wrong. I said, at the very best, they'll get back to the playoffs in about 5 to 10 years. Whoever knew it's going to be 13 years, they haven't sniffed it.
And counting. There's no more guarantees.
No. I mean, let's hope they get it this year. It's just, hopefully they get this done. And I hope you're catching up on your sleep with all these night games on tab, because man, I fully expect the Dolphin game, the last game, to be a Sunday night game. Mm-hmm. So 8 home games, 5 are going to be night games. That's tough.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of pride time this year. So you
got that. You got the London game. You got the San Francisco game. So they're going to be on a lot, and we'll see what it be. Let's just hope when they're in the playoffs and they're playing a playoff game. Let's hope it's not going to be at 8:30 at night. Well, it will be. Rodgers is going to be. It's going to be a night game. It's going to be a primetime game.
Yeah.
So that'll be a Sunday night game or a Monday night game, and it'll be at 8:30. And hopefully it's at MetLife. And let's hope that the temperature isn't like 9 degrees.
Yeah.
Let's hope that's not the case.
Exactly. Ira, is there anything else you'd love to let the Jet fans know? Anything else you want to cover before we head out of here?
No, it's all good. Everybody relax for 6 weeks. And the only thing I'm really looking forward to camp, the only thing I care about is that when camp is over, they have the least amount of injuries as possible.
Yeah.
Just stay healthy. That's all I care about camp this year. I don't want any major injuries.
Yeah. And no Rodgers rubbing his feet in practice. Remember that day where Rodgers was like there was something wrong with his foot and people were checking that out?
But he is going to be watched with such a fine. He's going to be under the microscope the entire summer.
Yeah.
Like if he bends down to tie his shoes, it'll be on social media. He pulls his hamstring. His Achilles is bothering him. He's got athlete's feet. I mean, I can't imagine the media frenzy with Aaron Rodgers at camp this summer.
It's going to be something to see.
it will be, and hopefully we'll have a lot to talk about.
Yeah. Ira, I want to thank you for calling in, and until the next time, we'll be back soon.
Sounds good. Have a good night, man.
You too, Ira. Take care.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.